My mother-in-law showed up in a wedding dress to my wedding. My dad's response made her leave in tears. I, 29F, got married last weekend, and what should have been the happiest day of my life turned into a scene straight out of a reality TV show, thanks to my mother-in-law. Some background. My now husband and I have been together for 5 years. He's amazing, but his mother has always been difficult. From the moment we got engaged, she made it clear that she wasn't thrilled about losing her baby boy. She questioned every decision we made about the wedding, from the venue to the menu to the music. My husband tried to manage her expectations, but she's the type who thinks her opinion is the only one that matters. My own parents are pretty laid-back people. My mom helped when asked but never imposed, and my dad is a straight-talking, no-nonsense kind of guy who usually stays out of drama. He's quiet until he's not, if you know what I mean. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother-in-law insisted on showing me the outfit she'd bought. I was busy with last-minute details and said we could talk about it later. She seemed annoyed but dropped it. Looking back, I should have made time for that conversation. Fast forward to the wedding day. Everything was going smoothly. The ceremony was set to begin in about 30 minutes, and I was in the bridal suite with my bridesmaids doing final touch-ups when my maid of honor came in looking like she'd seen a ghost. "You're not going to believe who just arrived," she said, her voice shaking slightly. Before I could ask, the door opened again, and my sister rushed in. "Have you heard?" she asked, her eyes wide. "Heard what?" I asked, feeling my stomach knot. "Your mother-in-law is here, in a wedding dress." I thought I'd misheard. "What do you mean, a wedding dress?" "I mean a full-on white gown. Lace, beading, the works. It might be nicer than yours." I felt like I'd been punched. The dress I'd chosen was beautiful but simple, an A-line with minimal lace and no beading. I'd fallen in love with its elegant simplicity. And now my mother-in-law had shown up in what sounded like a Cinderella ball gown. My first instinct was to cry, but anger quickly replaced the hurt. "Where's my husband?" I asked. "Trying to talk to her," my sister replied. "But she's insisting there's nothing wrong with her dress and that she needs to make a statement since it's her only son's wedding." I took a deep breath. "I need to see this for myself." My bridesmaids protested, saying it was bad luck for my husband to see me before the ceremony, but I didn't care about superstitions at that point. I stepped out of the bridal suite and peered down the hallway toward the reception area. And there she was. My mother-in-law was standing in the middle of the room, surrounded by confused guests, wearing what could only be described as a bridal gown. It was white, puffy, with a train that had to be at least 4 feet long. She even had a small tiara perched on her professionally styled hair. My husband was standing in front of her, his back to me, his shoulders tense. I could hear him speaking in a low, controlled voice. "Mom, you need to change. Or at least take off the train and the tiara." "I will do no such thing," she replied loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I've been planning this outfit for months. This is my special day too." I ducked back into the hallway, not wanting to be seen. Part of me wanted to march out there and confront her, but I knew that would only create more drama. As I was deciding what to do, I saw my dad walking down the hallway. He'd obviously heard what was happening. "Sweetheart," he said when he saw me, "go back to the bridal suite. I'll handle this." Something in his tone made me listen. I retreated to the bridal suite, where my bridesmaids were waiting anxiously. Through the slightly open door, we watched as my dad approached my mother-in-law. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't make a scene. He simply walked up to her, nodded politely to my husband, and then turned to her. "That's a beautiful dress," he said, his voice carrying clearly down the hallway. My mother-in-law preened. "Thank you. At least someone here appreciates." "It's just a shame you're wearing it to your son's wedding," my dad continued, cutting her off. "Where I come from, only the bride wears white. Only the bride wears a gown. Only the bride wears a tiara." The room fell silent. "I'm sure you didn't mean to try to upstage your new daughter-in-law on her wedding day," my dad went on, his voice still pleasant, but with a steely undertone I recognized from my teenage years. "I'm sure you didn't intend to disrespect our family by turning what should be a celebration of love into whatever this is." My mother-in-law's face had gone from smug to shocked. "So," my dad said, "you have 2 choices. You can either go home and change into something appropriate, or you can leave. But this wedding will not proceed with you dressed like a second bride." My mother-in-law looked around, clearly expecting someone to defend her. But the guests were either looking away uncomfortably or nodding in agreement with my dad. "This is ridiculous," she finally sputtered. "I have every right to wear what I want." "Not at my daughter's wedding," my dad replied calmly. "Not in the church my family has attended for 3 generations. I hadn't known my dad could be so intimidating. He wasn't a large man, but at that moment, he seemed to fill the entire room. My mother-in-law turned to my husband, tears welling in her eyes. "Are you going to let him talk to me like this?" My husband looked torn. I knew he was caught between loyalty to his mother and recognizing how inappropriate her behavior was. After what felt like an eternity, he said, "Mom, he's right. You need to change." That's when the waterworks really began. My mother-in-law burst into tears, mascara streaming down her face. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me? On what should be the happiest day of my life?" My dad didn't budge. "The bride and groom will be ready to proceed with the ceremony in 20 minutes. I hope you'll make the right decision." With that, he turned and walked back toward the bridal suite. When he saw me standing there, he gave me a small smile and a wink. My mother-in-law continued to sob dramatically in the middle of the reception area, but when she realized no one was rushing to comfort her, she eventually stormed out, still in her wedding dress, still crying. The ceremony was delayed by about 30 minutes, but otherwise went off without a hitch. My mother-in-law did not return. Her sister, my husband's aunt, called during the reception to say that she was too upset to come back and that we had ruined her special moment. My husband was upset, but agreed that his mother had crossed a line. He called her the next day before we left for our honeymoon, but she wouldn't pick up. She has, however, been posting passive-aggressive comments on social media about ungrateful children and disrespectful in-laws. Despite the drama, the wedding was beautiful, and I'm now happily married to my best friend. But I'm worried about the long-term fallout. My husband feels torn between his new wife and his mother, and I don't want to put him in that position. At the same time, I'm not willing to apologize for my dad's actions. He stood up for me when I couldn't stand up for myself, and I'll always be grateful for that. Was my dad too harsh? Should I reach out to my mother-in-law and try to smooth things over for my husband's sake? Or should I let her stew in the mess she created? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. Thank you all for your comments and support. To answer some common questions. 1. Yes, my Emile has always been dramatic, but this takes the cake. No, she's never been diagnosed with any personality disorders as far as I know, but several of you have mentioned narcissistic tendencies, and that doesn't surprise me. 2. My husband and I have discussed this at length. He agrees his mom was way out of line but feels guilty about the rift. He's an only child and has always felt responsible for his mom's happiness since his dad left when he was young. 3. For those suggesting couples therapy, we're considering it, not because our relationship is in trouble, but because we want to establish healthy boundaries with his mom from the start of our marriage. 4. And to the person who asked if my dad is single. No, he's been happily married to my mom for 35 years. Sorry. Edit 2. My husband just showed me a text from his mom. She's demanding an apology from both me and my dad before she'll speak to either of us again. My husband hasn't responded yet. We're discussing how to handle it. Edit 3. Thank you all for the awards and kind words. My dad is incredibly touched by all the positive comments. He says he was just doing what any father would do, but I know not every dad would have handled it so perfectly. As for the latest update, my husband called his mom yesterday. He didn't put her on speaker, but I could hear her yelling from across the room. He calmly told her that while he loves her, her behavior was unacceptable, and SHEO's US an apology. She hung up on him. We're giving her space to cool down, but we've agreed that we won't be accepting any communication from her that doesn't include an acknowledgement of how inappropriate her actions were. My husband is handling this better than I expected. I think seeing her true colors so clearly has helped him realize that this isn't normal mother-son dynamics. We're staying united, and that's what matters most. Thanks again for all your support. It's helped more than you know.